Hey guys, Justin Berry here. I've had a lot of requests and friends wanting to know, man, how do you run your oxygen on your minnows? What do you use? How long does it last? And everything from A to Z. So a lot of people on social media is wanting to know what do you need to use it and how long does it work and just everything. So I'm going to try to cover everything from A to Z on what you need to keep your minnows or your tournament fish alive using straight oxygen. Um, I don't use no ice at all on this, so hopefully I can cover everything from start to finish on this. So I start off with the Magellan cooler I got from Academy. The reason I got this is for the drain plug. The drain plug, you see how big it is. I can unscrew it and it breaks down. I figured this would be a lot easier to set up because it's got such an easy breakdown of the thread right here. It breaks down to a water hose size thread. I just went to Lowe's and got all my products from there, just started from scratch. That brass right there is this water hose fitting that breaks down to a barb. And then I went to a dishwasher section and got a rubber piece that goes from a bigger hose to a smaller hose. And then I put in the same hose I use, I tore it in half and to break it down even more. And that's all it is, that's all it's in there. So you screw it down in there and you can see that you got some give to it. It ain't going to break. It's got plenty of give, and trust me, I put it through a lot. It's not going to break. And then the hose size is just a regular. It's a fuel line hose I actually got from where I work at a trucking company. The fuel hose size is like a 4.8 millimeter or a 3/16, I believe. Yeah, that's right. That's what size it is. So this is why I picked this cooler. Of course, it's sealed. I thought it would be more easier than using like a Yeti or something else, all because of that drain plug. I knew I can make something universal that I can break down real easy. So that's why I picked this. Of course, it's sealed. Got the rubber seal on it for you ain't gonna worry about no water leaking out or anything like that. I did make a valve to bleed out air, so I won't have like no compressed minnows or compressed fish that have some pressure on it, because before I put that on there, I opened it up as I was testing it out and it popped. So I had that theory, so that's what I did with that. It's like a 45, this is like a 45 quart cooler, I believe. It's not even written on here, but I know it's a 45 quart. You say, well, how much minnows can I fit in this? I've carried 15 pounds worth of minnows in this. That's right. 15 pounds worth of minnows on this is what I can put in this. That's pretty much maxing it out. I usually, from now on, just to be safe, I put about 12 pounds in here, but you can carry 15. The oxygen diffuser that I use, I get it from Southern Aqua Supply off the website. You can Google it, Southern Aqua Supply. The reason I got this, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that they got a Keep Alive website. The reason I got this is because the brass fitting on the oxygen diffuser. The Keep Alive ones break off as plastic real easy. I went through like 3 of them before I figured it out. But you can get that diffuser as long as it's cooler or as short as you want, whatever you want to do. So that's what I use, and that's why I use it. The benefits for setting up oxygen. Here's my benefits. This is why I use it. For one, you're going to save money. If you figure out how to rotate your oxygen out, what to use it on and everything, you will save money your first week-long fishing trip. I promise you that. And plus, too, you can keep your tournament fish alive so much better. A buddy of mine down south, Brad Chappell, we was talking about one day during Nationals last year at Lake Washington. It was so miserable hot. We filled our coolers up with out of the water hose. We let it get cool. We filled it up to the top on the inside. Of course, you always want to fill it up on top as you transport, so there's no sloshing around, there's no gap for the air. So we filled it up. We put the Mr. Crappie juice in it, or anything that you want to do to take all the chlorine out and all that stuff to pretty much make your fish or minnows. Put all that juice in there. It's like a Xanax form. So that's what we did, and it was so hot and miserable that day that we, during the end of the day, our fish was just fine. There's people through that was weighing in fish that their fish was dying because it was just so miserable hot down there. So we filled it up. We did not use no ice whatsoever. We used straight water hose through the night. Let it, keep it cool through the night, and then during the day, this is all I had on. I had no shade over it. I run an aluminum boat, so it's even hotter in there, and it worked great. I never did have a problem losing a fish whatsoever. But the benefits on this is you're gonna save money. The next one is, you're gonna laugh at me, is it's more silent. If you ever been on the water and you got one of them good slick days where you can just hear everything, and you got a guy next to you running that aerator on that minnow cooler, and it's just like, it's loud. I don't like it. I want everything to be silent. So you got a silent approach. If you're up there in a foot of water pushing single jigs out the front, or you're up there in a foot of water single jig and you got minnows that you want to keep alive, whatever, I mean, there's no noise to it. So that's one good benefit from it I like a lot. You say, well, what tank do you use, Justin? This is the tank that I use. The tank that I use is an E tank. You can see how tall it is. It's called an oxygen, or it's just an E tank oxygen bottle. You can get these on the internet empty. I think the website is CPR Supply. They're out of Arizona. You can buy them empty, I think, for less than $100. Now it's going to be up to you of how you can figure out how to fill your tank, whether it be at a welding supply shop locally, or I think you can even get bottles filled or full through Keep Alive website. But this right here, I can swap out for $17. Once my tank gets empty, I can swap it out for $17 at my local shop and have a full tank of oxygen. So it's really, once you get your setup going, it's really cheap to keep oxygen. In my case, it is. It should be pretty cheap, but this is medical oxygen. You can use the welding oxygen. It's just more purified. It ain't gonna make a difference what oxygen you use. But the toggle, or the toggle that I have on the top, or that right there, I don't know exactly what that's called, but this is the one that I picked and choose. And it's just it's easier for me. So you ask, how long does it last? Next question. How long does the oxygen bottle last, just on this size? I put it through the test. I've ran the numbers. All the information that I've gathered and researched is that this bottle right here, easy, 30 days easy, running straight 8-hour days. It will last that long. So 8-hour days with 30 days is how long this will last. On my week-long trips, I can get minnows on a Saturday, and that following Saturday, I still have oxygen in my tank running 24/7. So it's a lifesaver. I love it. I love the whole setup. I'm obsessed with it. And I hope a lot of guys is too, to help benefit and save money and keep your tournament fish alive and keep your minnows alive. You ask about the regulator. The regulator that I use is very key. What you got to use. The regulator you need to get, regardless if it's this kind of setup or a regular welding setup, you gotta have a pediatric regulator. That's for babies. The pediatric regulator is, the first click will be 1/32. You can see right there. 1/32 will be the first click. You want to make sure that's the type of regulator you get. If you get the other ones, you'll waste your oxygen. You'll run your tank down faster. So that's very key. Pediatric regulator. Now you can get this on that CPR Supply website as well, and they're not high. There's like maybe $20 or $30 for these. If you get set up and you order it off that website, make sure that you get these O-rings right here. The O-rings right there, make sure that you grab a bag of them, because once they go out, I mean, it's a rubber O-ring. Your oxygen is going to leak out. So make sure you replace that every now and then because they get dry rotted. But get a whole pack of them and keep them in your boat. The next thing is, what do I set it on? How much does it keep alive? The 1/32 first click will keep 12 pounds worth of minnows alive easy. And that's the same thing to equivalent with a 12 pound of crappie stringer. It's say if you have a real good day and you got 14 pound stringer of crappie, you put it on the second click after the 1/32 and it would keep that stringer alive for that. Same goes with catfishing. You can do the same setup with it. As a rule of thumb, each click is worth 12 pounds of fish keeping alive. So that's really key on that. You say, man, that's impossible. Y'all can keep 15 pounds worth of minnows in here. I can, and I've done it. You can ask all my friends. I've proven it time in and time out. You got to rotate your water out. You say, well, I got oxygen. Can I leave the same water in there? No, you got to swap it out every day. I made this the other day because it was just so easy to swap out the water. Just easy PVC pipe, and then I got the laundry basket bag that I got off Amazon. And then so I laid it in there, put the minnows in there. When I'm ready to change out water, I can I run an aluminum boat, so I can undo that. I ain't got no fancy Ranger, no carpet or anything. I can undo that, let the water out, plug it back in. Of course, the minnows in here, I can have my buddy hold it up, or I can just leave them in here, but they're not going to go nowhere. And then I'll close it back up and put water back in it. So, but that right there, guys, is pretty much what I use. That's what I use. A lot of information there, just plain and simple of what you need and how I use it and everything to keep your minnows and tournament fish alive. The way I have it set up in my boat, I have like I got two oxygen tanks set up. I got one for the front and I got one for the back to keep fish alive, and one up front for my minnows. I run a splitter where I can take the cooler out. If you split your hose, make sure to get the brass fitting hose right here. This is the barb, and it's the same on the inside right here. Make sure you get brass. Don't run that plastic stuff because it would crack and break and you'll lose your air. But I hope this video finds it useful for you. Man, if y'all got any questions or comments, like I've had an obsession with it, but the reason I got obsession with it is because I love fishing and I love saving money too, and I love not losing no fish whatsoever, whether it be minnows or my tournament fish. So if you got any questions or concerns, man, just comment, send me a message, whatever. I can talk about it all day long. So I think that pretty much covers everything. If you can see right here, look at here, I'll show you something even better. If you look right here, we have our Eagle cooler. We have our Eagle cooler right here. This is what we weigh our fish in right here. My partner made a basket here. We got the Eagle cooler set up with the little oxygen tank and the same setup but smaller. And this is what we go in our weighing line to fish or to weigh our fish in. So you can set this up even with your Eagle coolers or any cooler that you want. But I recommend that you use a cooler that's sealed. That way there's no splash, splish, splash, or whatever you want to call it, while you're in transit to your fishing hole, to where you're going to, because there's no gap in between it where it's all solid water where the minnows ain't slopping around and dying. It's just solid water. So if y'all got any questions, just feel free to ask me. I'll talk about it all day long.